Hello all. I'm here to tell you about a bizarre Pokemon game that I once got my hands on. It's quite an odd story, but please bear with me and listen up. So, a while back I was given a copy of Pokemon Leaf Green by a friend. She said she tried out the game, but became bored of it very quickly. I could see just how quickly she got bored, as she only had 3 minutes of gameplay. She called her character Leaf. I guess maybe because of the game title Leaf Green? I wanted to play a new game, but first I wanted to see if she even bothered to leave Pallet Town to activate the event where Oak takes you to the lab and gives you a Pokemon. I start up the game to find the player is lying in her bed in her bedroom, except the bed is in the middle of the room. Everything in the room is missing except the TV and the bed. And the left side of the floor is a dark color, while the other side is lighter. Also, the area's name is Emptiness, not Pallet Town. Perhaps she gave up on the game because of the weird change to the overworld? Oh yes, I almost forgot to mention, no music is playing by this time. Before leaving the bed, I hit the start button, which opened up the menu. It turns out she did have a Pokemon, so I checked which starter Pokemon she chose. To my surprise, she actually had a level 10 Eevee nicknamed Loneliness. I know Eevee is an impossible starter, but I couldn't help notice that the E was missing from the word loneliness. Maybe she didn't know the spelling of loneliness, I guessed. I guess this might have been the case since she wasn't very good at spelling. Upon closer inspections, the Eevee appeared to be sad instead of having a happy smile on its face. Its nature is lonely nature, and its attacks are as follows: Tackle, Screech, Grudge, and Nightmare. I left the bed and made my way over to the TV. I pressed the A button to see if it worked, and it did. The text said, "You're not wanted here." Well, isn't that nice? Since I can't do anything in this room, I exit downstairs and similar to upstairs. The only thing in the room is a TV, except that this time the tiles on the floor spelled out the word "Go." I check the TV and the text says, "Don't leave me." Well, I had no choice but to leave since there was nothing to do in this boring room. So I exit south to waiting Pallet Town. I leave the house and instead of being in Pallet Town, I am in some large foggy place. The surrounding grass is colored red, and the house that I left is cut in half, with only the bottom part showing. There are gates surrounding the path which prevent me from exiting, and the music that is playing is the music that plays at the abandoned mansion. And there is a path heading east. Before heading down to the eastern path, I notice there is a signpost. I walk up to the signpost and hit the A button, revealing the text as V. Finally, there is another path going south, except I can't reach it because the gate prevents me from walking to it. I walked down the path for what seemed to be about 8 seconds when an NPC scrolled in. He appears to be standing on a gate, and his body is pure white, with a gaping mouth and blood trailing from his eyes. A very spooky sight, if I say so myself. I am able to interact with the NPC, and he says, "Can't you do better? Is he taunting me?" Well, regardless, I continue down the path. The surrounding grass turns to black, but the red path is still there. I walk towards the end of the path where there is a small door. Walking into the door, I am taken off to a different map. I appear in a small school-like house with no blackboard and a small desk with a book on it. I walked up to the desk and checked the book. He was so alone. His sorrowful eyes made me so unhealthy, so hurt. I wanted to help him, so I did. I have no clue who the author behind the book would be, but I shrugged it off. Another one of those white NPCs is standing beside the desk, So I walked up to him and spoke to him. He was so kind. His smile, his laugh. He said, "Leaving the house, I am taken back to the previous map, except this time I am in that path heading south, which I could not reach before." I walked south down the path to find there are some letters fitted on the left side of the gate, with 5 white NPCs on either side. The letter appears to spell out the word friend with a question mark under the 5 NPCs. Friend? It says. Someone is questioning if someone else was a friend. As I continue south, the red grass changes to a pitch black. There is also a large body of water with green grass surrounding it. I walk to my overworld sprite around the water and down the path. There is a door at the end of the path, and on either side of the gates there are 2 letters. By the looks of things, an N and an O. I puzzle together the overworld text as friend? No. So this person or Pokemon wasn't a friend to someone else. After exiting through the door, I find myself in a very confined space, with yet another white NPC standing at the end of a small room. When I spoke to him, he said, "Why wasn't he?" Well, see for yourself. By this point, I was greatly attached to this game, and was desperate to get to the end of it. I exit south, and I'm taken to the Pokemon Tower. There's a single path which I can follow, except I can't go outside the barrier of gravestones. There are 3 white NPCs scattered around the outside gravestone barriers, and there is one on the path which I can speak to, who only says, "Toward the end of the path, I find an NPC who isn't another one of those white NPCs, but your rival, Blue. He is stood in front of a golden gravestone and facing me. When spoken to him, he says, 'No! Don't believe the ghosts. Run away, before they get you.'" I was sort of confused, and was still trying to put together this odd story. But right now, I wanted to find out what would happen next. I exit the Pokemon Tower, and I'm in Lavender Town. The music changes to the Lavender Town theme, and the town has little changes to it. It's raining, and the roads going north, south, and west are blocked by wooden gates. I explored the town to find 3 more of those NPCs. Let's call them ghosts, since that's what Blue addressed them as. One of them is outside of the gate, so I am unable to reach him. One is stood beside the Pokemon Center, and the other stood beside the main house in Lavender Town. The one beside the Pokemon Center says, "Oh, but we were having so much fun. Do you really want to deny us?" And the one beside the house says, "KKKK, are you still going to believe that kid who betrayed loneliness? That's it, I got it. So Blue abandoned the Eevee named Loneliness. But why?" The one way to find out was to continue the game. I entered the house beside that ghost to find a lot of stuff is missing. There is a lass and a bug catcher sat at a table. I approach the girl and she says, "This is frightening. I want to get out of this nightmare." I walk over to the bug catcher and he says, "The ghost can't get in here. I wonder why." But wait, there is a 3rd NPC in the house. Facing the window is the male protagonist, Red. "Leaf, you're okay." No, you're not. Run now. You have to discover the truth." And with that, I leave the house just as Red commanded. The next overworld map is the Pokemon Fan Club in Vermilion City. Except the people are missing and there is fog here. May I also mention that the Lavender Town theme continues to play. I walk deeper into the house to find a ghost is standing beside a glitchy patch of blocks. The ghost says, "Right this way. Not like you have a choice." How very true. I walk into the bundle of blocks, but nothing happens and I appear trapped. I then tried walking back south, when I am teleported off to the Pewter City Gym with no one there but Brock. The fog is still in effect as I walk up to Brock and speak to him. Truth, he says demandingly, as I am thrown into a battle with him. At last, lively music. Brock has only 3 Pokemon, each at level 2. He sends out his first one, which is a Bulbasaur named Ghost. As I send out my Eevee, Loneliness, I easily KO the Bulbasaur with Tackle as he switches into a Charmander named Tricked. The process repeats and he switches into his final Pokemon, which is a Squirtle named Him. While looking at the last Pokemon, I noticed that together they say, Ghost tricked him. With that, I win the battle and Brock scrolls in saying, continue, handing me the Boulder Badge. Brock's texts end with a bundle of exclamation marks, and we are taken back to the overworld. Leaf received TM39 from Brock. Ghost tricked him. He is waiting. Begone, begone, Brock says. I exit the gym, and I am taken to the gate which leads to Victory Road. There are no edits here at all, and I am able to pass through the gate due to having the Boulder Badge. I exit out of the house in Fuchsia City, which is placed on the path that leads you to the cycling road instantly. I notice the text in the top corner which says, "You will perish." The city seems to be glitched and wrecked. It's raining and no music plays. Heading eastward down the path, I see 2 ghosts. The one closest to the house I exited says, "Take in the air while you still can, Kikake." And the one next to him says, "Your time is almost up." The path continues eastward, and I can't go north due to some glitchy blocks blocking the way. I keep walking eastward toward the city gate, only to find it is 3 uninteractable signs and a ghost. The ghost says, "When you find out the truth, you shall join loneliness forever, and you shall experience our being." I explore around the remote city to find Blue is standing at the southern-east part of the city. When I approach him, he says, "Leaf, I abandoned Eevee after my Raticate died. The ghosts tricked me into it. So I have found out Blue to be the fool he is." I continue with the story, going through the only door in the town that will work, which is the house I entered the city from. Entering the house, I am taken off to the Pokemon Tower. I am trapped in a single 1-block space, surrounded by gravestones with 3 ghosts standing around me. From this point onward, there is truly nothing to do, so I switched off the game.